buy lows and sell highs. Let's start with the buy lows. I'll throw it to you, Cal. Give us your first one.
I'm going to start with John Collins as a buy
Cool.
low, just because there's been a bit of a buzz on the whole trade
Yeah.
thing. You don't know if he's going to be on the move. He hasn't been performing too well. I mean, it was always going to be a bit of a bust for the 21 preseason rank.
Yeah.
His season rank has been 52. A bit underwhelming just in general, but I think there is a world where he gets traded to a team that really do like him and run a fair few more plays for him, which would get him really back up to that 20 and 10 that he was putting up last season.
Yeah. So he's obviously the 80th ranked player the last month, the 69th ranked player the last couple of weeks, putting up about 17 and 9. No assists, no steals, only a 3 a game. His field goal percentage is well down. Still getting you the blocks, which is all cool. So, but nothing really outstanding there for John Collins. Bit of a risk, I would say. You know, it's hard to know. You know, if this guy is traded, if he goes to a team where he features more or less than the Hawks. So I'd say a little bit of risk involved. I'd say if you're sort of doing all right already, maybe not make that sort of buy low move, but if you sort of got to make a difference to your team and you're sort of middle of the pack and you want to sort of risk it to get the biscuit, then I think it's a good buy low there.
Yeah, it could go either way. Like if he gets traded, I mean, there's a world I see him just going back to his old ways, 20 and 10.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, it could be huge. It could be huge,
yeah.
but yeah. I mean, this is probably his flaw, I would say. I don't think anyone's trading for John Collins to put him on their bench. So,
yeah.
I'd say there's probably more upside than downside, definitely. My first guy, I'll talk about Lauri Markkanen, who is playing really well for the Bulls. Has had a few injuries this season and a couple of COVID issues and things like that, but has managed to put together a solid season, scoring 3-pointers and field goal percentage, surprisingly being his sort of main categories. On the year, he's averaging nearly 51% field goal percentage, which is well above his sort of career average, which I think is ranking him much higher than he deserves to be. I like him as a player, and I do think he's well, and I think the Bulls seem to like him as well, moving Wendell Carter to the bench instead of him. So that bodes well for his future sort of value. But I just think that field goal percentage is going to come down soon, and if all he's providing you is points and threes and field goal percentage and good free throw, as soon as that field goal comes down, the points are going to come down, the threes are going to come down, and then he's not giving you anything else. He's not giving you assists. He's not giving you steals. He's not giving you blocks. So there's not really anything else to support that value when I think that field goal percentage will drop. What are your thoughts on Lauri?
He had a great poster dunk today, so go
huge,
check that out.
On our boy Moses Brown.
Yeah, exactly, the one and only.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, yeah, he really only helps in kind of there's 3 categories there that you're pretty much punting. But he doesn't. He's still he has some positive value for sure. I've kind of been persuaded on the bandwagon for him this season. So
I still think he's a good player, but I think that in terms of fantasy, he's probably, this is his peak. I don't think he's going to get better from here. So see how you go. Who's your next buy low, Cal?
Next buy low is an injured player. He's in John Wall. So it's once again, it's a bit of a gamble. He's got an untradeable contract, so he's not going to be traded anywhere, but just the injury stuff. If he does play, he puts up pretty damn good stats. It's just the playing time and the games missed is really what's hurting. But I mean, for the season, he's put up 21, 3 and 6, with pretty much a steal and close to a block a game. And then if you look at just the past couple of weeks, he's only played a couple of games, but he had that 36-point game, which is pretty much just totally put his stats a bit out of whack. But his past 2 games, 36 points and 32. So it makes you think he's feeling a bit comfortable. The owner might be a bit sick and tired of just having injured players. If you're a bit ahead in your league, he's worth trading for. I think if you can get a good buy low for him. Yeah,
you can use his rankings to your advantage. In the last month, he's the 232nd ranked player. And that's off the back of poor percentages, high turnovers, and sort of lack of rebounds and steals. But the points, the assists are going to be there. If he's healthy, they're hopeful that he's going to return next game for the Houston Rockets. So he's not going to miss much more time, if any. moving forward. So if the owner's sick of being injured, you could come in, scoop him up, and then he's back to playing. Might still rest back-to-backs. In fact, he probably will rest back-to-backs. So you've got to keep that in mind come playoff time. But I think you could get him pretty cheap with a lot of movement in Houston going away from players like John Wall. The owner might be sort of a bit scared of the likes of Kevin Porter Jr. and things like that stealing his role. So, which I think he'll still play. He'll still be their starting point guard when he's out there. But yeah, I do think that he is going to be, not the John Wall that we might have drafted at the start of the season, but still better than the 232nd ranked player. All right, I'll throw it over to my last buy low, and that is Marcus Smart of the Boston Celtics. We called Marcus Smart a bit of a bargain come draft time, and he sort of underperformed a little bit this year. I mean, he's still giving you the 13 points, nearly 3 rebounds a game, 5.5 assists, 1.5 steals. So they're all still good numbers. Obviously, the field goal percentage is always his thing for him. So that makes his ranking look a lot worse. But typically, if you want to own Marcus Smart, you're going to buy him as a punt field goal percentage guy. And the last couple of weeks, he's been returning back from that injury. He's been coming off the bench a little bit. But I think Kemba Walker is going to rest the next game. He's going to be back in the starting lineup, and I don't think that he's going to give it up from there. Had a couple of poor games the last few, only scoring 5 points in the last 2 games. So I think the owner would be very frustrated. I think you can get a good bargain. And basically what he's averaging on the season, I think he'll continue to average moving forward with those elite steal numbers. He'll get you assists. He'll get you some threes. So I still think he's a good player to have if you're bunting field goal percentage.
Yeah, that's a good pick. And that's the main thing. You got to really consider the field goal and punt that when you have him, because he does put up a reasonable amount of attempts. But
yeah,
he's great in steals. That's probably his best category. So that's a big up in that category there.
Half a block from your point guard is also, it's something to take note of. And low turnovers, that turnover to assist ratio is pretty juicy. 1.6 turnovers to 5.5 assists. So that's something that I like to see. And I think this is definitely his floor. I think he can only get better from here. All right, let's move on to sell high. Who have you got? Sell high. Sorry, who have you got for sell high?
My first sell high is Big Willie Barton.
Big Will Barton. Hit me.
He's been killing it recently, and do you want to guess how many threes he's been putting up the past couple of weeks?
No, I have not. He's not been on my radar. Let me know.
Has been on your radar? 4.3 3-pointers a game.
Really? There you go.
20 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.3 steals, 0.8 blocks, shooting about 52% from the field. So he has been an absolute hot streak. It's one of the reasons, one of the minor reasons, I guess, that those Denver Nuggets have been boosted recently and getting a pretty good record. The reason I think he's a good sell high is obviously, firstly, this is not sustainable. And secondly, look, he's 33 ranked over the past 14 days. The other thing as well, I think the Nuggets may be moving people. There's rumors, so his starting position could be maybe in doubt a little bit. So that's something to consider. So right now would be a time to sell him if you do have him.
I think it's a great option. Like I've never really been a big Will Barton fan personally, and that's why he hasn't been on my radar. But just looking at his stats of the last few weeks, he's been killing it. And I think, Gary Harris is still to come back into this team as well as someone who will definitely affect his minutes. Not sure exactly when he's supposed to be back, but I don't think he's too far away. And I think Michael Porter Jr. is coming into his role. We spoke about him a few times on the podcast, but I think he's definitely improving. And I think from that starting lineup, Will Barton will be the one to go and not MPJ. So I think that's a great sell high. I've also just realized that I was speaking about Lauri Markkanen in our buy low candidate segment, and obviously I meant him as a sell high. So just swap that over when we're talking about buy lows and sell highs. I did mean Lauri Markkanen as a sell high and not a buy low. I'll go on to my next sell high, and then I might bring it right back to my other buy low. And my other sell high is Robert Covington. I think he is going to be negatively impacted by the fact, firstly, that CJ McCollum is back, number one, but more importantly, the fact that Nurkic is going to be coming back soon. They've been playing, him as a bit of a small ball 5 at times, playing him as a power forward a bit more. And I think there's rumors that LaMarcus Aldridge might even be coming back to this team. I think that there is just a few red flags to say that he is going to drop in value. The biggest thing that's buoying his value is the blocks, the steals, and obviously the threes. I think the threes are going to be fine. I think the steals, might drop a tiny bit, but not too bad. But those blocks are definitely going to come back down. And if you remember at the start of the season, he was absolutely awful. He was not rosterable. But, obviously he's salvaged that value recently. And in the last couple of weeks, he's the 28th ranked player, on the back of those defensive stats. And I just don't think that is sustainable. If you can get anything in the top 50 for Robert Covington, I would do that instantly. Those memories of the sort of outside the top 200 player, at the start of the season are pretty fresh still in my head.
Yeah, he's one of those guys who could put up the very rare kind of 2 threes, 2 steals, 2 blocks, or close to that every game, which is super rare in fantasy. And he's had some kind of glimpses of it recently, which would maybe give some people hope, because I was even pretty high on him at the draft. Like, I would have taken him on my team. And I mean, looking at it, look, he is kind of back to his old ways. It's just you kind of have to punt points when you have him. And field
he's
goal.
not a scorer.
So he does hurt you in a couple categories.
On the season, he's obviously averaging less than the 40%, but in the last couple of weeks, he's averaging 46% shooting. So I think that will come back down as well, closer to that low 40s mark, to sort of even things out. But I'm worried about a few inclusions coming back into this side that will affect his production. So I would see if I can get some value back from him. Give me your last sell high here, Cal.
My last sell high is Montrezl Harrell. He's been playing really well. 41st ranked over the past month. And I feel like he's probably only really a sell high if your team is doing pretty well right now, because he's obviously going to maintain this while Anthony Davis is gone. But the one scary thought is Anthony Davis gets back just before the playoff kind of time, and all of his stats, I think, will diminish a bit, because his role is with Anthony Davis out, he's obviously got a fair few minutes. There's a lot more plays running through him. So if you're a bit ahead in fantasy, he could definitely be a sell high to someone who knows that Anthony Davis is out, and he can definitely have some value for the next 3 weeks or so.
Yeah, I love this one. I think also the Anthony Davis factor's there, but I also think there's been a lot of rumors, as there always is for the Lakers for whatever reason, that of trades, players coming in. They're apparently looking for some centers or some big men. LaMarcus Aldridge's name's been floated out there. Some other sort of names are out there as well. Linked to the Lakers. So obviously any other big man that comes into this side is going to negatively impact Montrezl Harrell. And he's pretty shallow in terms of what he contributes. It's points, field goal percentage, and rebounds. A trickle of steals and blocks here and there, but outside of that, there's no threes at all. Free throw percentage is not good. No assists. Someone who I think you can definitely sort of get some value back. I'll circle it all the way back to my buy low, which I failed to mention before. And that is one of your boys, Cal, Paul George. I think you can buy him low, because I think he's been underperforming recently. Had that hot start to the season, but recently has been sort of struggling. Lower in points, his field goal percentage has dropped away. He started very hot in terms of that category at the start of the season, but the last couple of weeks he's the 196th ranked player, which is pretty startling. It's obviously 3 games. If I expand that out to the last 30 days, last month, he's the 74th ranked player. Obviously, that's on the back of sort of the steals have dropped down. The field goal percentage has dropped. The points are down a little bit as well. So I still think he's going to be better than this. He's probably a first, if not second round player. So if you can get him for someone, close to that 30 or 40 mark, I think that's a big win.
Yeah, it's almost like he's it's playoff P.
What's going on?
He averaged about he was almost in the 50-50-90 club for like the first month of the season. He was red hot, getting great steals. I think it was I knew he was gonna have to come down and get back to earth. So he's in a bit of a cold spell, but I still believe he'll turn it back up. And I am hopeful, but he's been hurting me a bit. I'll be honest. He hasn't been great. So he's a good buy low candidate right now. But then again, he was so hot to be in the season. You still have to pretty good offer out there because he was a top 10 player for a while.
Yeah.
So.
Look, yeah, I think you're going to have to offer something good. But let's say you offer who's someone that we've talked about in our sort of sell high. I don't know, probably not anyone that we talked about. But let's say you offer someone who's like a 3rd or 4th round value. You might be able to get them off someone's hand. You maybe would you do like a LaMelo Ball for Paul George, someone who's sort of a bit of a flavor of the month, something like that. I would definitely do if I, obviously I'm the LaMelo Ball owner and you're the Paul George owner.
I need more. I definitely need more.
Yeah, I think
you're
a bit smarter. Amazing. Yeah, you're a bit smarter than that, but some people might sort of be enticed by that. So give it a shot, and I think you come away with a bit of a steal there. So yeah, there's the buy low, sell high segment. That'll do it for today. Thanks for listening again, guys. If you are listening on YouTube, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so let your mates know about it. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. Let us know how your fantasy team's going in the comments. If you have any questions, let us know. We try to get to them as many as we can. Follow us on Twitter, or follow myself on Twitter at BallBoysNBA. And if you have any questions, you can hit us up on there. We're also posting a few up-to-date things when Moses Brown goes off. I'll let everyone know that, hey, I have this guy right now, and you can sort of beat the pack to it and not wait for the next podcast. But otherwise, we'll catch you next week. See ya.